Dude, I started Mark Andrews last week.
Yeah, just punching the air. Just straight.
He had one target, hit him in the hands.
I finally
and
dropped,
he dropped it.
But I finally dropped Likely off of like my ESPN team because I was like, you got for 28 points and then he has like two.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah. Well, they're just they've changed and they're doing what they're good at.
Well,
which is running the ball.
Now I have Derrick Henry on both my ESPN teams, so tight end is not a problem. Okay, to the house. Very special episode of To the House because it's going to be an all baseball episode right after this tiny little football thing. And if you need homeless or at-risk youth services, you can take it to my house, 300 North Willow Street in downtown Wasilla. And if you want to go to like the event of the year in the Matsu, you can take it to the Menard Center.
Be there
next Saturday, October 12th. From 6 to 9 p.m. for Rotary Uncorked. Theme is out of this world. I will be in costume.
Of course you will.
And tickets at wasilarotary.com.
Yeah.
Brian, my fantasy team spanked yours that past week.
Yeah, I don't know why we need to start here, but I swear, so this is what I've come to conclusion. Somebody somewhere as a Raider fan has made a deal with the devil. That says every time the Raiders win, your fantasy team will be garbage. Because that is exactly what happened. And it happened also to another gentleman who's a Raider fan in our league, where like I looked at his score. He was at like 113 points, which is insanely low in the format that we have on Sleeper. And so it was like a bittersweet weekend for me because the Raiders won, but I lost to, and you're like the only one I don't want to lose to. I'm just going to be really honest and vulnerable right now. Like, I do not want to lose to you. I'll lose to Ozzy. I'll take that. I mean, you know.
In our work league, Ozzy currently leads the league and is projected to beat me by 21 points. Yeah. So, but Ozzy's team, the Chargers, now have lost twice. Your team, the Raiders, also 2-2 because they beat the Browns. So thank you for that. Love you beating the Browns.
Yeah, but they should have lost though. And so here's the scary part is like Deshaun Watson, and I hate saying this, looked like a serviceable quarterback.
I know, I hate that for him.
Like they had an 80-yard touchdown called back for a holding. They had Amari Cooper.
That was crazy.
Popped a pass off of his shoulder.
That was also crazy.
into the safety's hands. Like they should have won that game.
Yeah. But, you know, a win's a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many. The Seahawks finally lost because they had to play a real team. But outside of the DK fumble, which I know everyone's like, go down, but he's a competitor. He's trying. It wasn't a hit to the head or anything, but it's an awkward hit. Like the ball pops out, and then Seattle just never really recovered. But the defense is going to bounce back. The defense is what looked good. They went against Jared Goff, who
18 for 18
threw a perfect game.
But Jared Goff has also been playing like garbage.
Yeah, he kind of had a comeback game, and you know that's not to say that our defense made mistakes, but we had four key guys out.
I think you got a reality check by the end. Happened.
Well, yeah, but like
I think you guys were the phoniest undefeated team.
The Steelers were also phony, and they also lost. This week.
That's true.
But
you're right there.
I mean, like I'm not upset about that loss. Like the defense had four key guys out to start the game. By the end of the game, they had six. So hopefully we get some of those guys back. But then. The one thing that I was worried about, like I understand why the defense underperformed, and the one thing I was worried about was the offense, and the Lions' defense isn't terrible, and offense looked really good. One bad fumble, and then just couldn't keep up with the Joneses the rest of that game.
They seemed to catch it. They seemed to get back in rhythm in the second half.
Yeah, and they had a chance to tie that game back up, just 4th and 3, like what about Tyler Lockett makes contact with someone, and it gets called back.
Did you see the first onside kick attempt?
No.
It was so confusing.
I was watching the game, and then when the Lions made it 42-29, I was traveling back from the bachelor party we were at out of state with my family, and so I didn't have the chance to
It's
watch
really
that.
It's super weird. I can't even explain it to you. I just watched a clip on the Pat McAfee show. It's like like they are kicking from like the 40. Anyways, it has to land within the 45. What ended up happening is they got the ball in the 10. It was crazy. Like it's ridiculous.
No,
we'll have to look into that. I'm gonna have to talk about that. But anyways, baseball. Let's go Dodgers.
Yeah. So
what happened to the Mariners?
I really didn't want to.
What happened?
Did they miss the playoffs by one game? Like I said, they were going to.
Yeah, I seen that. I was looking at that the other day.
Yeah, my family was at the Friday Saturday game after they were already eliminated, and after they were eliminated, they looked like gods. Actually, the last 6 games, they only lost once. They beat the Astros twice. They swept the Athletics.
So what I'm hearing you say is that they play very poor under pressure.
I guess, dude. Honestly, they had a perfectly fine second half of that season. The July and August killed them. Yeah. Killed him. Shout out to my youngest brother who got a signed Cal Raleigh baseball and changed his Julio jersey to a Cal Raleigh. Shout out to the Mariners team store who let him change his jersey to a Cal Raleigh Friday Night's Light jersey after he got a signed Cal Raleigh baseball. Shout out to Cal Raleigh, who's the first Mariners catcher to get 100 RBIs in a season. Not shout out to ownership or general manager Jerry DiPoto. Fix yourself.
I wonder if they'll do that for my Adams jersey, dude.
Oh man, I don't want to talk. We're talking about baseball. We're talking about baseball. Anyway, it's coming back from this out-of-state trip. I wanted to record on Monday. That's when the playoffs started. But now we kind of have an even better picture because most of the wild card games are done.
Right.
Shout out to the Houston Astros who tied the Mariners for playoff wins this season. You guys suck, and I'm glad you lost. Go Tigers. I'm such a Detroit Tigers fan.
Detroit looks good.
Wham! 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 I hate you. So 6 teams from the AL West. The Tigers make it in as the 6th seed. The Royals had the same record as them, 1 game better than the Mariners, who just are on the outside looking in. Tigers, Astros. Obviously, it's easy to say now, oh yeah, the Tigers look like they could beat the Astros because they did. They swept them in that best-of-3 series. But the Tigers are hot right now. I really like their matchup against the Guardians. I don't have their season record against each other pulled up, but their logo looks like a toaster. Anyway, but I actually really like the Tigers coming out of the AL West. They're a team that's like just getting hot at the right time. Yeah. You can say the same thing about the Royals. They had a really bad skid late in the season. And then they righted the ship and did what they needed to do. Right. And again, we're recording this on Thursday, so we already know that the Royals made it past the Orioles. Now,
and that's like the beautiful part about playoff in any sport is like seeding is somewhat important, but you can see it every year. If a team can get hot at the right moment, they can make a run and make it difficult for those upper
100%. So in the AL West, we already have our final 4 set out to go, which is Tigers, Guardians. I'm taking the Tigers in that series. I think they're going to make it to the AL Championship, and I think they're going to end up playing the Yankees. The Yankees look like world beaters this year.
I'm going to go for Detroit just because Detroit as a city needs this.
Yeah. It's very easy. Going into this, I said my team that I'm rooting for this year is Detroit. 1, because they're playing the Astros in round 1, but 2, also, they're the 6th seed. It's an easy team to root for.
Quick question. Why is the locker room celebration with just Budweiser beer?
That must be some sort of sponsorship or something. That's disgusting.
That's they're just
not champagne?
No, dude. I was watching the San Diego. I was watching them do their celebration.
Budweiser not a sponsor of my house.
No, sure is not.
Definitely not a sponsor.
But they were just dumping Budweiser on each other like, rah! And I'm like, that is not what. No,
the celebrations are crazy because every baseball team celebrates like they've won the championship for any other sport when they just make the playoffs because it's 162 games.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you make the playoffs, it's a celebration.
Yeah,
really weird. Actually, okay, so let me finish this because I'll talk about it when we get to the NL side of the bracket. Mm-hmm. The other 2 AL teams are the Royals, the Yankees. The Yankees look like they're the team to beat out of the American League this year, especially because their kryptonite is the Astros, who got bounced by the Tigers. So I think the Yankees, it's hard to pick against them making it to the World Series. I will say that I think if any team knocks them out, it would be the Tigers just because they're coming in so hot. So I think Tigers, Yankees for the AL Championship. I probably have the Yankees advancing. Really weird situation on the NL side of the bracket going into the playoffs where you had 2 teams that were playing a doubleheader on a Monday. It was the only games going on. Yeah. And the way that the standings worked is both of those teams had a tiebreaker against the Diamondbacks. So if they split the series against each other, then the Diamondbacks were out and the Mets and the Braves advanced. So again, I'll say it again. 2 teams playing a doubleheader makeup game on the Monday before the playoffs, right?
Okay.
They're both a win behind the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
But the Diamondbacks also lost the tiebreaker to both those teams. So if both those teams win one game out of the doubleheader, if they split that day, they're both in. The Diamondbacks are out.
Oof.
So what happens is the first game was crazy. The Mets are down, then they're up, then they're down, then they're up. The Mets win 8-7 with a home run in either the 8th or the 9th to advance to the playoffs.
Okay.
Then they are not, the MLB says you're not allowed to sell, because they always do, like the champagne or the beer or whatever. The MLB says going into the game, no one's allowed to celebrate. Keep all your stuff up. Like, do not go into the locker room. Like, you're not allowed to do that because they wanted to protect the integrity of the second game, right?
Yeah.
So here come the Mets back out on the field, and they basically have nothing to play for at this point. It was still like a somewhat close game, but you're not risking any starting pitching. You're not like risking any guys are banged up. Like, you're not playing them because you play the next day, I think it was.
Right.
There is no reason to play anyone that you want to start an actual playoff game. So, of course, it's to be expected. The Braves win that next game.
That's rough.
Well, the Diamondbacks who...
Sorry,
this is why every game matters. So the Diamondbacks, yes, it sucks. Diamondbacks fans, that is agonizing.
Yeah, that's
just
rough.
having to watch the second game and just watch your team not make the playoffs because the Mets didn't sweep the Braves that weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucks. But anyway, on the NL side, the Braves are now bounced, and it is Ozzy's San Diego Padres that have advanced to play Bryan's Los Angeles Dodgers. Brian has been a fan of the Dodgers for a week, and Ozzy's been to one San Diego. Ozzy's been to one Padres game in his life when you lived in San Diego. Is it one? Did you even stay for the whole thing?
No, we left.
That's perfect.
I think we went to the movies.
So we've got just like
actually one time we got Chargers tickets the same way we got the Padres ones through like a random lottery, and I think my dad gave them away.
Jeez.
So just like week 1 of the NFL season, we have a Bryan versus Ozzy team matchup.
None of that Ozzy juju influences this game this time.
Pretty much can guarantee the Padres are going to win this series now. This actually is, I'm super glad that it ends up being Padres Dodgers, because the Dodgers are big brother and San Diego is little brother, and that's how it has always been.
Yeah.
So you have the most exciting man in baseball in Shohei Ohtani playing against like the maligned little brother underdog franchise, and I think that it's going to be a super, super fun series to watch.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know much about baseball, but I think when you put that much pressure on one player, it can make things, especially when it comes to playoff time, because you're not playing just a regular season game. You're not playing, hey, we'll get him on the next game, right? Like, no, we got to win, And so going into that game, but Shohei also, like, I've only watched like some clips of him. He looks like the most chill dude I've ever seen in my life, and he just goes out there and is just like, yeah, dude, here's a homer. Here's a couple steals.
But baseball's such a team game.
Yeah.
Like and especially because Shohei's not pitching this year. Like, he's only playing on offense. So the Dodgers have some big holes. They have some of the best players in the game. They also have some big holes. So that'll be interesting. We don't know who the Phillies are playing yet. The Mets, baby, are playing against the Brewers, who they were not able to finish off last night. That game's going on right now, so by the time this comes out, you'll know who's playing the Phillies. I really think it's going to be the Mets advancing, because the Brewers looked a little fraudulent coming into the playoffs. Right. So I guess my picks really quick. I'm gonna take the Phillies to beat the Mets. But I really think it's going to come down to whoever comes out of this Padres-Dodgers series. On the National League side, I think that's the team that'll advance to the World Series.
Whatever. It'll be Yankees and Dodgers in the end. So
I mean, that is truly the worst case scenario. That is like the worst timeline for sure. The two biggest franchises that everyone hates from the opposite coasts playing against each other is the worst timeline. I don't know. I think the Padres look like they might have something. And so my World Series prediction is Yankees Padres. And then I have the Yankees winning the whole thing, which is like
gross.
Outside of the Astros
Go take
winning.
A shower. You're dirty.
I feel icky. I feel icky after that. If you have not watched baseball or if you've not watched playoff baseball, you need to watch playoff baseball because it is electric. Just when a baseball stadium is full and it's the playoffs, like it is a totally playoff. Anything's great, but playoff baseball just feels like a completely different beast.
Yeah,
because it's just 45,000 people just like sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting every pitch like for something to happen.
Yeah.
And then when you get that home run or that big RBI, like people are just losing their minds.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, I think football is the only sport where you see just like that energy pretty much week in and week out.
Yeah.
Because the seasons are so much shorter.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in basketball, right? Like you can have a lot of empty stadiums and stuff, but as soon as playoffs hit, it's a whole nother game.
100%.
Which basketball is about to jump off.
Basketball's about to jump off. Hockey's jumping off next week. Next week, I'm sure we'll talk about our teams again.
Suck.
What day does basketball start?
I don't even know that. I just know that.
I think hockey starts.
I think
it starts on a Tuesday.
It's like the last week. It's like right before Halloween because they have a couple Halloween games.
Yeah, so we'll probably preview some hockey next week. We'll talk about where baseball's at. We'll talk about where our teams are at. We'll see you next week. Even when Ozzy and Bryan are rooting against each other,
you're going down, Ozzy.
Sports can somehow find a way to bring them together. Together.
I still like you though, Ozzy.
Together, and we'll see you next time on To the House.